now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton, music moments, and everything in between. I'm Sick Braxton.
I'm Mike D. Jackson.
How are you, man? I see you got a WrestleMania shirt on. I'm trying to see it clearly here. What we got?
I wore this before. It's been a while. There's Roddy Piper, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Jake, and Brad.
Okay, that's a solid cast. Solid cast. How are you, man? How is your week gone?
Um, Very interesting. Um, I don't know how much I want to expose or not. You know what I mean? I might I know sometimes I talk about minding my business. I might want y'all to mind your business. But no. Nah, weekend was cool. Can't complain too much or whatever. Some I'll say some interesting things, some interesting tidbits. We'll maybe discover that more when things happen a little bit more. But this week so far, obviously I'm off yesterday and today. Really nice. I finally got to see Sonic 3. I'll tell you that.
Nice.
And it was funny because my plan was yesterday to go see it, but I was like, well, maybe I'll wait because we're going to be recording. And then you're like, nah, we got to record. Yeah, we got to postpone.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, well, good, I'll watch it. And then I was like, wait a minute. I think you shared it and someone else shared it. Oh, you can watch it at home starting on Tuesday. I'm like, I'm watching at home then. So watch it at home. Didn't have to leave the house. I'm like, so really great experience. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Again, can't say too many good things about that movie. Really, really good movie. Really great movie franchise. Easily to me the best video game movie franchise ever at this point.
Definitely. It's one of those situations where, sometimes, you get to the second or third movie, they might miss a little bit, whatever. But I'm like, no, I think that each one has gotten better. And I'm definitely hyped to see when the next one comes out, whenever that is. So dope.
Yeah. Shout out to them, man. But we are here back again to do another review of a Charles Hamilton project, man. And this time we got a I don't even know how we explain this. It's not really a sequel, but is it its own thing? I don't know. But we're reviewing Charles Hamilton, the Black Lavalamp.
Yes, sir. The Black Lavalamp. I guess you could say technically, I've seen some articles call this a spiritual successor to the Pink Lava Lamp. But at the same time, I'm like, is that fair to say? Because, if we're going by if we started with Pink Lava Lamp, right? There's
Mhm.
Blue Lava Lamp, and there ended up being like the broken lava lamp. Behind the lava lamp, we're at the black one now, and it's just like, you know, if you go from 2008 to 2019, by the way, this project came out August of 2019. Um, if you go by that, it's a long time from Pink Lava Lamp to Black Lava Lamp, but I feel like these two get compared the most,
Yeah.
regardless if people want to admit that or not.
Yeah, I would say that too. I mean, obviously we know where the Pink Lava Lamp is among all Star Chasers, like all-time records. A lot of them have it like up there at the top, at least top three at minimum, right? Um, but I have seen people say that they like this more than the Pink Lava Lamp. So it's an interesting juxtaposition, especially with all the lava lamp things that have happened in between, for this to be the one where people are like, yeah, this is a step above the masterpiece that everybody talks about. Do you remember your first time listening to this?
I definitely do. I want to say I could see when some people felt that way about maybe Black Lava Lamp being, better in their opinion, compared to the Pink Lava Lamp, just because one, this was actually made for streaming. So, when it first came out, hey, this is on streaming, check it out. Now, unfortunately, guys, it's no longer on streaming. So if you do want to listen to it, you got to go to YouTube like usual, or, make sure you go to the CH app where you can find all Charles Hamilton's music. But my first time listening to it, I'm like, I did get somewhat of a Pink Lava Lamp vibe from it, but I'm like, hey, this is going to be like a somewhat mainstream version, but also Charles doing it his way and on his accord without feeling like he has to compromise anything. When I first heard it, I was like, hey, this is some good music right here. I can say back then I was like, nah, this is not better than Pink Lava Lamp. But we are some years removed now. We're in 2025 now, so maybe I've changed my mind since then. But what about you? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I definitely listened to it while I was on streaming. Yeah, I remember being excited that it was on there, but then like that excitement kind of went into that cautious territory because you know how I am about sequels or like successors and stuff like that, and that's what it was being presented as. I can honestly say, as just somebody who's just upfront with stuff, I definitely was not the biggest fan of this, but it also probably had to do with me not giving it a fair shot, mainly because of the lava lamp situation. I remember liking a one specific song, and then everything after that, I was like, yeah, I don't know, like just the connection wasn't there for me. But this was a good chance to like go back and kind of give it that thorough review and kind of see where I actually sit now that I have the time to, dedicate some listens to it.
And also, this is going to be our second time reviewing any of the lava lamps, So eventually, when we get to all of them that are out of this recording of this time, it would be interesting to see how we rank them. That'd be an interesting thing to do. Because I can say this, can't speak for everyone, but I do remember, at least for us, Star Chasers, the OGs, when the Blue Lava Lamp came out, there's people that low key feel like that's a classic in itself. But I do remember there's a good amount of people that weren't the biggest fans of that. So that could have left a sour taste in certain fans' mouths. Like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to listen to another Lava Lamp because the last time he did one, I wasn't really a big fan of it. So um and that's also like I said, behind the lava lamp. I don't know how everyone feels about that one either. You know what I mean? So I hear some people like share songs from that one, but we're not focused on those lava lamps, we're focused on the black one, this one.
Yeah. Um, it says 15 songs. I just want to ask you really quickly, just based off of the way that, this playlist shot to who did this one. This is Defit Defit 18 who made the playlist, but a lot of songs are from Sega Genesis uploading. This one says there are 15 songs. I just think it's weird that track 14 is the bonus track. Well, track 13 is the outro. Track 14 is the bonus track, but then there's just 15 as if it's just like randomly there. It was just weird how they had it.
So I did technically go on Spotify. Like if you go on like Google, just type in Charles Hampton Black Lava Lamp, you
Mhm.
can still go on Spotify and see like the track listing of it.
Got it.
Obviously, all the songs are like blacked out. Like if you go on like the app, you won't find it at all. But you have to actually go on Spotify to see that
Mhm.
hey, it was there and this is how it was uploaded and everything. Um, Same time, Charles did that for Big Lava Lamp, where he has the outro and then like bonuses at the end. And it's
Yeah.
like bonus. So
Yeah.
it's just like um I don't know if that was a nod to Pink Lava Lamp or that was just a thing where he's like, you know what, I'm gonna call this a bonus. This is not because I don't think at the time when this came out there was a regular version of Pink Lava Lamp, or not Pink, but a regular version of Black Lava Lamp, and then there was the bonus version that came out. We talked about it before. Artists will do that. Hey, I got the regular version out. 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna add three more songs to it. You know, and then like your boy LeBron said, oh, thank y'all for taking this ride with me. Here's three more songs.
LeBron Deluxe, man. The creator of the Deluxe album. So,
Wait a minute. Does that mean that Charles Hamilton and LeBron James like did a collaboration together? Wait, I'm
let's
gonna mind my business. I might have said too much. I might,
I,
yeah.
I would gladly like you to mind your business with that one. Um, the cover. The cover is it's I don't even want to call it a black lava. It's just like what's the filter when you throw a filter on a black and white filter on there? I feel like that's what we have here. How'd you feel about it?
It's a chill cover. It's smooth. It's one of those things where like when I first saw it, I was just like, hey, like I don't need it to be like too crazy. I don't need it to be like too wild. Like, hey, Charles Hamilton, Black Lava Lamp, have a Black Lava Lamp on there. I'm cool with it. So, um, sometimes simple is better. I know a lot of us feel like, oh man, the original cover to the Pink Lava Lamp was so great, and then it's one of those things where you kind of have to think about it from a artist standpoint. do you keep doing something similar or do you change it up a bit? Like how do you go about it? But I think it's a clean cover overall. So I'm like, hey, I don't need too much. Just says Charles Hamilton, Black Lava Lamp. It works for me. So, and we've seen Charles do some super simple covers. This one wasn't that simple to the point where it's just like nothing on there. So I'm like, it works for me. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at this at all. I like the skies situation in the background. I think those are mountains as well in the background. I'm not sure how they connect with the cover itself, but it does do a beautiful aesthetic behind it. Um, you make a mention of, people wanting maybe to do the same thing over or do the similar thing that you did a few years ago. I think that will be a theme when it comes to this project, just because I want to kind of talk about some of the comments that I saw on here as I was listening to the songs. But as far as the cover goes, like I said, pretty clean, pretty smooth. So I'm not mad at it at all. We're gonna do our best three to start off, and then yeah, we'll move you on along. So, Mike, what you got as your best three?
I'm gonna hit you with the reverse and skip
Oh,
myself.
Universe.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit myself with a skip and then make you go first because I don't want to pick one. I don't want to pick your songs. I want to change things up a little bit. You know what I mean? We're talking about doing the same things over and over. Let's switch it up and have you start for once.
Facts. With that being said, though, I do think this is if there's a few tapes where I'm like, I feel like we pick the same songs. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that we will probably have at least we'll have at least one different record as far as our favorite three. Now, the other one we might be on the same sync, but we'll see. Um, so I'll start off with the one that I liked from my first listen back then, and that was the intro. I love the intro, Worship. That beat came on, that sample. As soon as it came on, I was like, oh, he's gonna do something really good with this. And then, it starts off pretty, steady. And then that dun, 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 like that really took it to a whole nother level. Real funky. Um, the bars themselves, it didn't start off the strongest. But it does get a little bit better as we go along. You can instantly tell that it's gonna be like a freestyle written, off the top type of situation, but nothing too bad where I'm like, it takes away from the song. The hook is basic, but it works well with the beat and they kind of marriage with each other. It's nothing too bombastic, but like it does well together. And it was a good way to start the tape. I thought that was a good way to start the tape, and I thought that what would follow at the time, obviously, would be something maybe not to Pink Lava Lamp esque, but a very good project overall. So still like that even to this day. Um, I'm gonna skip the next one because I want that one to be my last choice. For the next one, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna. Oh, this stuff. I'm gonna say that. I think you'll pick it. I'm gonna go with 12:01 a.m. 12:01 a.m. because again, I can't remember what that instrumental beat tape was. Pink instrumentals. I know you ain't got the. It was one of them, but it was that secret agent beat. I used to always try to rap over that, just like in my spare time, just to do some exercising. And it was just, I was like, I wish he would do something to it. And then when this came out, I was like, okay, interesting. Not what I expected him to do with it, but listening to it today, I was like, this is still a decent shot. He's doing some good verses here. He's rapping. Um, interesting, like the interesting way he took it and which way, what he used with the beat. But on overall, it was a decent listen, and I am glad that I was able to get back to this one. But my favorite song on the tape is actually track number two, Scorpion Winds. That that beat is crazy. That sample choice, the hook, the verses, everything about this song is really good. Instant playlist for me, by the way. I don't even want to call it a surprise. It's a surprise pick of the tape only because I don't know why I didn't like it back then. I'm a little
Wow.
confused. Yeah, I'm a little confused why I didn't like it back then. Because that's like right up my alley, and it's like 5 years ago. So I'm not understanding what I missed when I was listening to it. Um, but yeah, one of those instant, soon as the song starts, instant love, instant gratification as far as the song. Ran it back a couple times. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite one of the tape. So those are my three.
Yeah, very surprised to hear you say that you might not like Scorpion Winds back then, just because I would call that the surprise pick for someone that's never listened to the tape at all. Like if it was
Mhm.
their first time listening, they'd be like, "Oh man, that's what he did with that." Yeah, definitely one of my favorites. But for someone that's listened to it, I'm like, I feel like that's like you said, instant playlist, something that everyone's gonna like. One of the top favorite songs on the project. Something that like if Charles was to do like singles for this or like some type of video for whatever,
Yeah.
this would be definitely one of them. Um, so I kind of already figured you want to pick Scorpion Wins. Like I said, one of the best songs on the tape. The classic Troy T Roy sample. If you
Mhm.
played NBA Street Volume 2, you already know the sample.
Yep.
Um, this to me, it sounds like an updated version of Loser, but like it feels like a winner. Like instead of Charles
Mhm.
going the same loser approach, it's him being like, you know what? No, I win this time. I'm no,
Yeah.
no, I'm Scorpion and I win. Flawless victory. He pulled the mask off and spit fire at you. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
song really close. That's all I can really say. Um, Worship, I was kind of feeling like you might have picked that one, maybe not, wasn't sure, but
Mhm.
really good intro, I feel. I know there's Hamill Vision had a video for it. It's like they didn't do like a whole video for it, I remember, but they did like a bit of a video where Charles had the I guess it was the clown hat Charles era where he would just wear
Oh,
that
the Jester hat. Yeah.
yeah, gesture hat. He wear that gesture hat everywhere, and in the video it's just him just sitting there on a couch, whatever. Everyone's just moving around him, and he's just like kind of sitting there. And the song says it: choose your seat and sit down.
Hmm.
Charles is like, I'll be goddamn. Um, I think the intro worship it just sets up the tape, kind of gives you an idea of like what Charles is actually going to do on this one. And for some reason, I get the feeling of the sophomore jinx. I know we talked about this being the spiritual successor or maybe a part two to Pink Lava Lamp, but
Hmm.
how this track just comes in, it just sounds like, hey, if Pink Lava Lamp came out and then Charles had his things with his dealings and his labels, it's like okay, it's like the label whoever was like, all right, we're gonna let you come out with an album and we're gonna let you do it your way. Do it
Hmm.
however you want to do it, and we'll just fund it. However you want to record it, fine, do it. What I mean? That's how that song sounds like and how this tape kind of feels like, where it's like they let Charles finally have his way,
Yes.
sample how he wants, sings how he wants, rap how he wants. And it's like, all right, well, if you prove us wrong, all right, sky's the limit. But if this doesn't do as well, this is like we told you so. Like
Yeah.
your ideas don't work exactly as well as you think they do. But I really like the intro as well. And you said 1201. Um, Yeah, the Secret Agent Man flip, nice sample. It has like a surfer feel, but also an emo feel to it. It's a cool song. I don't
Hmm.
have too many notes about it, but I do like the song. All right, for my three, I was gonna pick Scorpion Wins, but I have some other ones I could pick. Too High. So
Okay.
Too High, uh, Darker Nights, and I'll say Them Digits. Those would be my three.
Okay.
Uh, for Too High, is Charles having the groove and the funk. He's bringing that in. Song starts off very groovy. This song reminds me of She's Too High, but like kind of just a remix, different flip of it.
Hmm.
Charles wanted to do something different with a different beat. Um, Charles having fun on the track. That's pretty much all I can say. You can tell he enjoyed himself. Um, with Them Digits, Charles flips the 8675309 song, classic.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think there's really that much like rock samples or flips on this project. So this is like one of the times you actually get that type of feel in it. So, that's always nice. Everyone's kind of everyone's divided on that. Some people like it, some people don't, but I think Charles
Hmm.
did well on it. Um, I like the verses, the hook's okay. And then for Darker Nights, I said the title matches how the beat sounds. Like it comes in, it has like that type of feel where it's like this sounds like a Darker Nights type of beat.
Hmm.
First thing he says, all y'all suck dick. All right, damn. This is one of the songs Charles shows his aggression and anger with the lyrics. The hook's simple, but it's good. He's saying y'all could be underneath the sun. Um, I'm probably one of the few advocates where I'm like, I like to hear Charles be aggressive with his songs, show a little bit more of that anger and just energy that sometimes he doesn't always show. Like for example, like if you take Darker Nights and then Worship, right? Charles is kind of just like rapping just like this and Worship, just
Hmm.
pop the popcorn. But then with Darker Nights, you hear him just really showing some type of energy. So those would be my three songs.
Okay. Um, yeah, Too High. I, as soon as it came on, I was like, okay, this is kind of like a smooth little airy type situation. And then the hook came in. I was like, oh no, I know exactly what this is. That's from She's So High. That lyric is the that hook is a lyric from She's So High. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I got to thinking even deeper. I was like, huh, Too High is the third track on this tape. She's So High is the third track in this on the Pink Lava Lamp. So while you were talking, and I was listening by the way, but while you were talking, I started going through the track listing for both, and I'm just trying to see if there's a connection here. So the first obviously is worship, then the following the Pink Lava Lamp is music. When you said that Scorpion Winds was, an updated version of Loser, I was like, oh, Scorpion Winds, the second track on Black Lava Lamp, second track on Pink Lava Lamp is Loser. So then everything just started connecting. So we got Visions at number four, Voices at number four, This Little Piggy at number five, and then Boy Who Cried Wolf, which is a crazy connection. I like that. Now this is where things kind of take a deep detour. It's Them Digits is six, and then it's Let Me Live. Not really a connection there. Darker Nights, but then you have Brighter Days. Uh, this you'll love this one. There's the cookout, and then there's the conference. We got Bluffin', and then we got Satellite. So I don't like that one. 12:01 a.m. Live Life to the Fullest. Come Back to You. One Night Affair. That could be a connection there. So yeah, I mean, it just looks like that he kind of did like a mirror image of the Pink Lava Lamp, which is crazy because Blue Lava Lamp is mirrors are the enemy, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, go
Real
ahead.
quick, um, maybe what the black lava lamp is, it's actually the shadow to the pink lava lamp.
Oh,
Like you see the pink lava lamp, and you see the shadow of the pink lava lamp, which
maybe.
is the black lava lamp. And then you have Sonic the Hedgehog, you have Shadow the Hedgehog. I told you I just seen Sonic 3. Listen, I'm on my business though.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on my business.
You better relax, man. The FBI might be at your door soon.
Oh, they well, by the time y'all see this, they got rid of TikTok, then they brought it back. So
Yeah. So
China's watching.
somebody's watching. But yeah, I like Too High. Too High was at first I was like, I don't think you should try to do like try to mirror that. But then I listened to it again. I was like, this is cool. This is okay. What else you said? Them digits. Yeah, the sample's cool. Song's solid. I don't think it's something I would go back to listen to like right off the bat. But if it's a shuffle and it came on, I'd probably listen to it all the way through. Darker Nights. The aggression thing is always interesting because at sometimes it works and there are other times it's like you were rapping regular for like a full verse and then all of a sudden you got really aggressive, which if you're building up to a story, it makes sense. And Darker Nights kind of sets that off with, the hook kind of demands that type of aggressive sound. So from that perspective, I do think it was a success from that perspective. I will ask you this. People in the comments, right? Just off the first one, I saw people have multiple different views. One of the ones that kind of caught my eye was, 5 years ago, somebody said, this whole album is embarrassing. It's getting really hard to remain a fan of Charles when it's so clear he hasn't cared about his body of working years. I hope he takes a break, gets clean, and stays clean. Now, the last part was probably the most important part, right? You want
Yeah.
him to get better. No, the health thing was always the biggest thing, right? I want you to focus more so on the first half. He basically go on to say that what did he say? He said smoking weed and half-acidly freestyling doesn't cut it. I think we've had kind of not danced around the conversation, but we have talked about how like the freestyling thing and and what he used to do are so vastly different that there is a disconnect with certain fans. What's your takeaway from what he did on this tape? I feel like it's closer to what we're looking for as far as the freestyling thing, but what's your take on it?
Yeah, because I feel like I could name certain projects where I felt like it was more sounding like Charles freestyling and smoking weed, and I don't really feel like it was this. Now, I do know on the conference, I think that's how Charles starts it, where he says he has like a little intro where he says he's gonna he's gonna smoke, and then just and he explains like how he feels about like music and whatnot, like how he's been
Hmm.
doing music for so long and he doesn't have like he does it. He might not do it for the love of music, but also
Hmm.
he feels like he's not getting that love from music back, I
Yeah.
guess. But
Hmm.
I think that for the most part, like what Charles was doing, like I don't think like he was rushing on this project at all. Like he had some type of idea, and I feel like we're kind of on point with some of the things we just picked out with like the songs mirroring each other on this project compared to the Pink Lava Lamp.
Hmm.
And like I said, I feel like it was more of Charles um trying to not necessarily do another Pink Lava Lamp, although he has said that before. Like, is that what y'all want? Y'all just want Pink Lava Lamps? And I think it was Charles, doing his another version or another way of the Pink Lava Land, but it wasn't him just trying to just recreate it or just half-assing it. I wouldn't say that exactly.
Hmm.
With that fan or StarChaser, I mean, they might not be one anymore, but I think it's the kind of like the ebbs and flows of what you talked about. At a certain point, you kind of fell back a little bit and you got a break, and that's what made it maybe easier for you to get back into the music. That person, might have at that point kept listening, kept listening, and it might have been like just stuff they just weren't digging, and maybe they just had to realize, hey, this music might not be for me anymore. This artist might not be for me anymore. I might need to move on to something else, somebody else. But I don't think that he was half-assing it and smoking weed on this project, at least. There's some other ones I can say that about, maybe that I have the opinion of, but I don't think that was it on this one.
Yeah, when I read that comment, I was interested because again, I wasn't necessarily feeling it when I first listened to it. So I listened to it again. I was like, I don't get that vibe from it. I do get the vibe from like if you expected hmm, clearer lyrics or clearer bars that you can understand that you don't have to really decipher, or like where the connection from one bar to the next bar is, the clear connection to versus it feels like he's just rapping from subject to subject. Then maybe I can get that vibe. But as far as like you said, we've heard projects where it's like, bro, like this is no connection to what you're saying and the music. So it wasn't a good listen for us. But this one, I had no problem listening to back to back and listen over and over. But you know, uh, so Charles ends up replying a few years later, like 3 years later. I think yeah, 3 years later. So 2 years ago from today, um, to the dude I was talking about. He said, "Write down the lyrics if you think that they're weak." Which I don't know. I feel like if someone says they just don't like the lyrics, I feel like you should just or either or explain it. Because I think we've had that conversation with him too. Like if there's something we're missing, explain it to the people. That way we can kind of go back and listen to with like a fresh ear. Um, and then somebody else said that they told him on Twitter that, I enjoyed his old style better. He made it seem like it was a problem that I asked about it. Now, we both know that Charles used to have an issue with that if you told him that. Um, he also replied to him and said, "Why can't I grow? I'm not going through the same stuff or around the same people, both of which were toxic." Another theme that Charles has brought up before. So I think one that Charles is in a better place today where that stuff doesn't necessarily bother him as much, or he has a better way of responding to it. But yeah, as far as like this tape, it's not one of those what one would consider half-assed to me.
Yeah, I think for me it's two things. People have to either grow up or grow out. And when I say grow up, it's like you grow up with the artist, grow up with the music.
Hmm.
So the second person was like, "Oh yeah, I like the older style better."
Hmm.
Conversation we've had before. When you say the older style, are you talking about the 2008, the 2010? Because it's one of those things where I could understand why Charles would be so upset because like if if you have had the conversation with him recently, if y'all don't know, Charles started recording and making music in 2005. It's
Hmm.
2025 now, 20 years. So
Hmm.
you're telling me from like 3 years out of his music, only three of the years have been good, and you're saying the other 17 have been bad?
Hmm.
That's wildly disrespectful. Even if you're
Yeah.
not saying those exact words, if you're paraphrasing that, or if you're just like you're basically saying that, like, hey, out of these 20 years, only three of them were good.
Yeah.
Like that's 3 out of 20. That's a horrible percentage. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where like Charles said, he's not around the same people, not around the same environments. Yeah, you're only basing his music being good off the stuff he made when he was like between 18 and 21,
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're saying he fell off a cliff and never came back. Um, I feel like that's wildly inaccurate. We've gone over certain projects that came out within later years of 2013, 14, 15, 16, and so on, where we're like, oh no, this is some good music here. So it's people just not wanting to grow up, wanting to stay in a certain era of music for just certain artists. I have a theory. I'm not gonna go into it too much, but like, I don't trust anyone that only likes the first two albums of every artist. Like, if you're only
Fair.
there when they start and they're kind of blowing up, and then they blew up, and then you're like, oh, they fell off. It's like, I hope that's not my car. Anyway, sorry. If you if you fall off after that point, it's like, okay, no, nah, that might be you. You might just be like someone that's like a hype beast. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, so you have to grow up with the artist and notice they are into different things. And then if you're growing out, that means, hey, either this artist has outgrown me, like on some Jay-Z stuff where like they're talking about like Warhol paintings and whatnot, and you're like, well, I don't know anything about that. Or you've outgrown them where it's like, hey, like Drake, where it's like, oh yeah, you're still talking about girls looking bad at 17. Whatever he said on what song was that? Nice for what? It was some type of line like that. But you get the point. It's like grow up or you grow out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You have to go one way or the other. But you can't expect people to just keep making the same exact sound because let's say if Charles was still doing that, you'd be like, oh, he's boring. He doesn't change his style up enough. So damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, man. It's just one of those things. But now we have to turn our attention to the misses. And I don't mean ladies. Um, would you like me to start off with the misses as well, or you want to
Yeah,
take it there?
I'll let you go ahead and start off with the misses that aren't ladies. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Those are your words, not mine.
Fair.
You can
Yeah.
start off with those misses. I'll start off with some other misses. And
Yo, that laugh is
sorry.
crazy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was bad. That was terrible.
Oh man. I will ask you this, and just out of connect, I feel like we share at least one. Is One Night Affair on your list?
Yes, that is correct.
Cool. So One Night Affair is on my list for sure. Um, I have Visions on my list as well.
That's two.
This is where it gets tricky because this you could really pick out at any of them. But I'm gonna go This Little Piggy.
Um, nah, that's not going to be my third one, but I'll save that for later. So
You
I'll let
might
you
you
go.
you might pick out the other one. Um, One Night Affair, man. It's the classic case of the singing. I think the over emotional singing and I guess overdoing it is just it's an instant turn off for me. Um, and even when he gets into the verses, again, it's nothing where I'm like I can put aside the hook for the verses. It's just it's there's nothing there for me. Um, I like I said, if we're taking it as the mirror of the pink lava lamp, if this is supposed to be the opposite of come back to you, I'm gonna pick come back to you 100 times out of 100 times. Like it's you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's an odd choice for this tape. I think it's sandwiched between 12:01 a.m., which I had a blast listening to. Then to follow that with this is kind of tough. Um, and I think the next one is Backwoods, where I think it's like a rap heavy type of record. So it's kind of that sandwich is kind of weird to me, just from a personal standpoint. Um, what else? I said Visions. Again, it's just something about that just doesn't fit well with me. Again, coming off the too high, it's a weird try to juxtaposition. Again, I see what he was going for with it. I think I just didn't like the execution of the song. Um, and a lot of these, the static, right? The static and a lot of these records was very. I thought my headphones were messing up, and I just bought these headphones, so I was getting pissed. So I was getting real upset. I'm like, yo, I know what who messed with my headphones, but no, going back and like just taking it out the headphones, listen on the phone for a little bit, and you even hear it through there, and it's so noticeable and so like ear itchy, I guess is the word I want to use, that it can be kind of distracting, and it's on a lot of these records. Um, and then this little piggy, I just that's just a miss for me. Like there's no, I don't really have any constructive criticism to it. I think it's just too slow and too um it reminds me of like crushing a piece of paper. You know, that just that sound it makes, like crushing a piece of paper into like multiple times. It felt like that multiple times, and it just again just not a connection for me. So those are my three that I just thought were misses on here. Yeah, I probably wouldn't listen to any of those. Vengeance maybe. But the other two for sure, no.
All right, so for this little piggy, I'm gonna shoot that song some bail, some it's funny because when I heard the beat, for some reason, I felt like I could have heard 50 Cent rap on that back in like 2003 when he was like when his mixtape run, 2002, 2003 mixtape.
Hmm.
Like I could have seen him do like a remix to it. Um, it just sounded familiar to me. It's a mellow song. I'm not really mad about like how slow it is, how chill it is. I don't have a problem with Charles crooning because he's doing more of the singing, crooning instead of rapping on it.
Hmm.
Um, it's for me tolerable for the verses. He's like,
Okay.
I'm saying, he's doing that, and for the hook, he goes a little bit more into it, so that's where it's like, but I'm okay
Yeah.
with the song. But for the two that you picked, and those are like mine. I'll start with Visions, right? So with
Hmm.
Visions, um, it's a mellow track because that's where it first starts off being mellow because you have the first three songs that have their energy, then he slows it down. He gives a shout out to Keswick and Skrill,
Hmm.
and that's also when he has the technical difficulties himself. That might have been what interfered with us when I was trying to introduce myself. So listen, wait, are we the Black Lava Lamp?
Hey, I'm minding my business.
All right, my bad. No, but it was one of those things where I'm not sure exactly if he was actually going through technical difficulties when recording, and
Hmm.
then he had to like explain that to everybody in the intro. And I actually like the song Visions, but like you
Hmm.
said, the static and whatnot, you hear it a lot in the song, and it ruins it for me. It's still a good song, but if you were like able to get rid of that, I probably might have had that actually in my favorites, in one of my
Hmm.
favorites. Um, I think I see the idea though. I kind of feel like what he was trying to do was he had the technical difficulties. Then he was explaining, hey, this is what's going on. And then he was giving a shout out to Keswick and Skrill and everybody else just saying, hey, y'all have made me want to get better with my music. I've always, looked up to y'all. Y'all have always been an inspiration of some sort. And it's
Hmm.
like him trying to, reach out to them, right? But then there's always this distance, there's always a static, there's always this interference. So if that's what he was trying to do,
Yeah.
understandable. But like I say, execution, it's like sometimes you don't need to actually have that static,
Hmm.
like I imagine like if he was doing a song about calling his girl and oh man, we can't reach each other because the operator keeps dialing in or we hear the like imagine him putting that actually in the song. It's like I don't need that. I
Yeah.
don't need that literally. Like you can explain that without putting that at like full blast in my ear to simulate that for real. You know what I mean? So I feel
Yeah.
like that's where he missed with that song. And then you said One Night Affair, like you said, it's Charles singing out of his range, going out of his range. And I feel like a lot of times when he's doing that, it's him singing, from his gut and the emotion he legit feels, where it's like, we
Hmm.
get that. But if you don't possess that type of that type of voice for it, it's not gonna work out. Um, like you said with Come Back to You, right? Because you think
Hmm.
about the song Come Back to You from Pink Lava Land. Charles doesn't really do that much singing, but he does. I gotta come back to you, come back to you. Like it's like he's not really singing that hard. So it's like with him,
Hmm.
he's like, okay, I know I could sing like right here. I can carry a tune. I'm gonna stay here. But then on some of these other songs, he's like trying to do like a Mariah Carey, and it's like your vocals are here. You're not even supposed to even think about being here, and you're going up
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So um anytime Charles does that in a song, instant, I'm like, no. Um, but those two other songs definitely the ones that I felt like, eh. Um, if I was to pick one more though, um, let me check. I would say the last track, Lincoln. Um,
Okay.
so the reason why I'm gonna say that one, I like the beat. It's the Bad Luck sample. Um, I feel like maybe it's not necessarily the song I dislike, maybe the mixing of it. Because like when I was listening to it at first,
Hmm.
um, it sounded like just like maybe the mix of the song, like there's a lot going on, like a lot of sounds like clashing together. But I don't have a problem with like the vocals or like the verses themselves, but it just sound like a bunch of everything coming together at once. And
Hmm.
maybe that might have to do with you know, how this was mixed together or how it was recorded. Like I said, some of the technical difficulties. Because there's some songs on here that are actually like really good songs, but when you have like the static, there's some songs that have skipping in them where there's legit skipping. Like it makes me feel like legit we're back in 2005 where I'm sitting on the bus with a CD player and we just hit a bump, song skips. And
Yeah.
it's different when you're used to that because you can kind of hold up, you can hold up the CD player and be like, oh, I know the bump's coming. But it's like, no, it skips like that every time. I actually had for my CD of Pink Lava Lamp when I burnt it back in like '08,
Mm.
on Boy Who Cried Wolf. I forget which part it was, but there was a spot that it would always skip at, but the CD burnt it like that. So I'm like, okay, well, I know it's not like that. My CD's like that.
Yeah.
But when I hear a song and it's like, oh, no, 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 I recorded it like that. Everyone has that same skip. It's like, ah,
Yeah.
so those would be like my three misses. And like it's one of those things, just a reminder for everyone that might not understand, don't get it confused. Sometimes misses don't mean, oh, it's a bad song. It's like it could have been a better song, but it
Hmm.
might have missed the mark. It's where we're giving our critiques at. So don't feel like it's like, ah, just I picked this song, I hate it. It's not that I hate it. It's like certain songs I had to, pick out and say, hey, this is where things could have been better at.
Yeah, I don't think I mind. I don't think I heard like a lot of the mixing things that you did on Winkin'. But I will say just the last three songs, they all felt, I don't know, similar, I guess. Where in the way I was like, I would have to check if I was still listening to the previous one, but I'd be on a whole different one. Which again, like doesn't make them bad, but just they felt all like similar and kind of melted together. Um, but yeah, Winkin' was cool. Again, I don't think it's something I'm gonna like run back to, but as a listen for this tape, it was cool. Um, yeah, the beats on here were amazing to me. I think if someone were to ask me, "Hey, what's a tape within the last 5 years?" It kind of sounds like Charles's old production because I think we talked about it recently how his production has kind of changed, where there are certain elements of old Charles Hamlin, like 2008, 2010, that era, 2012, even where there's a certain elements where you know this is a Charles Hamilton production, this is a Charles Hamilton record, just by listening to the beat for a little bit. If someone asked me to look what tape I could point to, I would point to this one because it all sounds great. Maybe bar maybe one or two records, but yeah, I thought the production was a standout on the tape for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that because believe it or not, with One Night Affair, like when that came in, I love the sample on it. I was like, oh, this is
Hmm.
gonna be a really good one. But like I said, just the way he chose to sing on it and whatnot, But if we're just talking about like beats and production and how he wanted to chop up certain sounds, I'm like, it's definitely potent. It's stuff that I could recommend if we were just like taking all the lyrics off here and then having people just listen to the beats themselves. Um, I feel like you could just get people excited off that. Like, oh man, this is going to be like, imagine him just doing a beat tape of it. And then it's like, hey, I'm gonna give y'all the lyrics later, and then you're just like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what he's gonna do on track 5, or man, the way
Yeah.
that track 11 went, man, I can't wait for that one, especially track number 2. Oh man, he's gonna go crazy on that one. So I definitely can't fault really anything like beat wise on here.
Yeah, like I said, and just looking at some of these, comments, man, people really were digging this tape. Um, just certain comments, everybody look for the samples, which is a common theme in like all the comments. Everybody's always looking to find out what the sample is. Phenomenal beat. Yeah, anything else that you know about this tape or any other takeaways before we review this one?
Um, for me, not too much. It's one of those things where I did try to go back and look at like extra comments and information that I could find, but it's not as much because unfortunately, like I said, Spotify, the link for that's down. Um, and by that time, 2019, like I don't think there was like a real like great spot for Star Chasers to come around and actually talk about it.
Mhm.
Like there's obviously people that we know, like, oh yeah, you listen to Charles, you listen to Charles, like how do y'all
Yeah,
feel about the Black Lava Lamp? But it wasn't really like a place for us to congregate and be like, oh yeah, like this is what I like from the tape, this is what I not like from the tape. Um, by this point, 2019, the the Facebook groups definitely like not dead and gone, but like everyone's not really on there anymore. Like
yeah,
that type of stuff, like everyone stopped really talking about like 2016, 2015. Like no one's really on there. So is not as much information, but I do welcome anyone that does know any information, any samples, whatever, just any ideas or thoughts they had about the tape. Feel free to put them in the comment section. You know what to do.
yeah, man. But we listened to the Black Lavalamp in 2025. So let us know what you are going to do as far as your review, any pros and cons from the tape, and what character rating you are giving it today.
All right, so for Black Lava Lamp, like I said, when I first listened to it, I'm like, oh, this is a good batch of music. A good showing compared to, what Charles may have had previously, and Charles trying to just level up his game and make sure that Star Chasers understand he's still making music and he's still trying to, give us something to enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, I still feel like the music on here is pretty great. We talked about the static and whatnot. Not sure what was the reason for that. That kind of, kind of dampens the tape a little bit. Some of
Hmm.
the skips on there, like just not like, oh, I'm skipping this song. I mean, there's actual skips in certain songs. It's in a handful of them. Um, I don't know how I would want to recommend this. Like, if you guys would rather listen to this like in earbuds or in the car, there's certain songs I'd be like Visions. I probably wouldn't listen to that in the car. So,
Hmm.
um, but I think for the most part, if you can get past like that, that those noises in the background, you should listen to it, however you want, whether earbuds, just on the phone, in the car, probably wouldn't matter too much for you. Um, it's not a perfect tape. I can definitely tell you that. It's definitely one of the higher on my list so far for Lava Lamp projects. For me, uh it doesn't beat Pink Lava Lamp. For me, it doesn't, but I think that it's high up there. It's definitely a candidate. Maybe in another couple years I might change my mind. But for right now, I still think that Black Lava Lamp is good, not better than Pink. Um I haven't heard too many people talk about this tape though. Um it's some people that said they like it, but we've had some people that said they don't.
Hmm.
But I think that it is a bit underrated. So I'm going to give this project a tails. I think it's a good project that maybe more people need to listen to if they haven't, because it was on Spotify before, but now it's not. So it was accessible, more accessible, but it kind of maybe fell off because of it being taken off of streaming apps. So tails, underrated.
That's a solid pick, man. That's a solid rating. The production on here is fantastic. I think it's really good. I think you crave that old school or that older '08, 2010 type of um Hamilton production with kind of like a mix of the new. I think you'll really enjoy this. The beats on here are fantastic. There's a reason that everybody in the comments was asking for when you go let this beat go. Can I have this beat? Da, 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 da. So from that perspective, you're good. Now there is the issue with the static. Even our favorite song, Scorpion Winds, full of that static, like full of it. But that song is so good, it's kind of easy to ignore it. Like you know it's coming. You can't pick out when it's gonna do it, but you can definitely ignore it. Um, I think the tape is solid. I don't, like you said, it's not a perfect tape. I think it kind of suffers from the comparison situation. I think it suffers from some freestyling elements that maybe don't have the best verses or the best lyrics or whatever, where there's nothing to really latch on to and be like, oh, he's really attacking this, whatever. Good flows on here, different flows. I think if you like some of the singing elements, you might like a lot of some of the records. Um, yeah, it's I definitely like it better than I did back then. Like back then, I probably would have given it Robotnik. It's definitely bumped up from that portion. I just think that it's an interesting journey. I think it's a bumpy ride. I think it's very up and down. I think it's a very up and down situation. So for that, I'm gonna give it a knuckles. Because I think there's some stuff here that's really good, like really, really good. But I think there's other stuff that's just like either just not listenable for me, but also just some stuff where it's like I heard it and I was like, it's there, but it's nothing that's gonna like blow me away. Nothing's gonna, reach like a top 100, 200 Charles Hamilton tracks for me. So, but the highs are high, and I really love Scorpion Winds. I'm glad I definitely did go back and listen to this and pick this up. So I'm gonna go Knuckles.
All right, respectable. It's interesting because, excuse me, it's interesting because I really just want to know how everyone else feels about it
Yeah.
because I just don't know because the like those comments we talked about earlier, like I think there's just certain people where like I think they just haven't listened to like anything recent. Like if you didn't listen to anything since like 2011 and then you jump into 2019, they won't have like a maybe a good idea of what Charles is doing, you know. But
Mhm.
I think that like within the last 5 years of what Charles has been doing, this is a solid project. So I think
Yep.
everyone is definitely going to find something they like about this. I can say that.
I think so. You'll definitely come away with something. There's no way you can listen to this entire thing and not find something here for you. So, but let us know what you think, man. How do you feel about the Black Lava Lamp? Where does it rank amongst the lava lamps for you? What was your favorite track? And kind of tell us what maybe you wish he had done a little bit better. You can tell us over on StarChaser Central, over on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at StarCH Central. Glitch for a second. You can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm gonna stick around 54, STIK around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, D Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike Jackson. That's one D, two E's. Holla at me. Um, I was gonna make a joke because if TikTok was still down, I was gonna be like, oh, you can't follow us on TikTok, even though we don't promote it anymore, but whatever. Yeah, anyway, make sure you guys follow Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you're subscribed to him on his YouTube page at The Talented Mr. Hamilton. I said this before, I'm gonna say it again because within the last couple episodes, Charles has been going live a lot more
Mhm.
recently at random. So it's like literally, if you're not subscribed to him, you will not know when he's going live, when he's randomly going to be just making beats or just wanting to talk to Star Chasers. Because I know one time he wanted to go live and he was like, it's not that I don't want to make music. He's like, I just want to kind of talk to everybody. So you never know what you want to get. So make sure you're subscribed to him. He has new music that randomly comes out. And like I said, random lives that he wants to do where he wants to connect with y'all. He wants to connect with y'all. But if you're not connected to him, you're not, how's it gonna work? Come on now. Last but not least, make sure you guys are tuned into the blog where you can get most of his ideas and thoughts and etc. Enter the hamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Yeah, I think one of the most recent lives he was kind of premiering like some new music that he has on the horizon, and it sounded really good. So you definitely want to be subscribed. Definitely want to check into that, and yeah, make sure you check that blog. A lot of interesting tidbits about like what he's going through, of like new music on the way, are definitely there. So just be sure to check that out. Be sure to let us know what you want us to listen to next. It's a review next. Anything, any specials? We haven't done a playlist in a long time, so we should try to think about what one to do for that. We'll figure that out. But yeah, it's fun early in the year, but let's see what else we can get into. Mike, anything for the people before we head out?
Just the usual. Thank you guys for checking out another episode. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for talking about the music, communicating with us, and also keeping Charles inspired, because without him, there is no us. So thank you guys.
Yes, sir. We are now logging out of the StarChaser Central podcast, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams.
And reach for the stars.
Don't be afraid of how fast we go.